No tanks, no missiles, no soldiers on the front lines, just a pen, some paperwork, and a storm of tweets that shook the global economy. When Donald J. Trump stepped into the Oval Office, he didn't just promise to make America great again.
Trump claimed to be a total reset in trade relations, even though these were just initial conversations.
Done in the spirit of cooperation, shared interests, mutual respect.
He promised to take on the biggest threat he believed was stealing that greatness of China.
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 China. China.
China.
China.
China.
China.
This wasn't politics as usual. This wasn't diplomacy. This was war.
Former President Donald Trump has made yet another daring step on the global scene, bringing tariffs and trade disputes to the forefront. With a high-level discussion behind closed doors, Trump is apparently developing a new economic policy aimed at isolating China and re-establishing American dominance in global manufacturing.
A trade war that would rattle industries, terrify markets, and send shockwaves across every continent. Because Trump didn't just want to renegotiate deals. He wanted to rewrite the rules of the world economy. And in doing so,
Don't let some of these politicians go around saying, because I'm telling you, these countries are calling us up, kissing my. They are dying to make a deal. Please, sir, make a deal. I'll do anything, sir. The happiest people in the world would be China. They wouldn't be paying 104%. I tell you, they'd be paying no percent. We'd be paying them 104%.
he picked a fight with the second most powerful nation on earth. This is the inside story of the global economic battle that defined a presidency and changed the 21st century forever. The billionaire's grudge. Before he was president, he was a mogul, a man obsessed with winning, with deals, with dominance. Trump had been sounding the alarm for decades. Back in the 80s, he warned America was being ripped off, that China was using the US like a piggy bank. Nobody took him seriously. They laughed on late-night TV, called him a loud-mouthed real estate guy with a bad haircut. But Trump was watching, studying, and when he won the presidency in 2016, he didn't forget. From day one, the target was clear. China had to be stopped. He saw it as an economic parasite. One that stole American manufacturing, flooded US markets with cheap goods, and manipulated currency to keep control. Trump's solution? Tariffs. Billions of dollars worth on steel, on solar panels, on electronics, machinery, and more. Overnight, decades of free trade philosophy were torched. He wasn't playing by the rules, he was flipping the table. Xi's Trump, the ultimate showdown. In the other corner stood a very different man. Xi Jinping, quiet, calculated, cold. Xi had already transformed China into a modern-day powerhouse, with a centralized grip tighter than any Chinese leader since Mao. He wasn't about to bow to an American billionaire. When Trump struck with tariffs, China retaliated. Soybeans, automobiles, tech products. The world's two largest economies were now in a tit-for-tat economic shootout. Stock markets plunged, supply chains cracked, business leaders panicked. American farmers suddenly couldn't sell their crops abroad. US companies like Apple and GM watched costs soar, and China began forging new alliances with Russia, with Europe, with Africa. Meanwhile, Trump doubled down. More tariffs, more threats, more tweets. "I am a tariff man," he declared.
A lot of people like to talk about tariffs. Well, tariffs is exactly what they were doing for us. When you want to defend that, they're a beautiful thing for us if you can use them, if you can get away with using them. It's going to make us very rich. We'll be paying off debt. We'll be lowering your taxes very substantially because so much money will be taken in that we'll be able to lower your taxes.
But this wasn't just an economic strategy. This was a psychological war. Xi refused to show weakness. Trump refused to back down. And in between, the global economy trembled. the hidden cost of America first. For Trump, the trade war wasn't just about economics. It was about symbolism, about sending a message that America would no longer be the world's ATM. But while the message was loud, the cost was quiet and deep. By 2019, U.S. businesses had paid over $80 billion in tariffs. Thousands of small factories began laying off workers. Farmers in Iowa and Wisconsin saw their exports evaporate. To cover the damage, the Trump administration issued massive bailouts, $28 billion to farmers alone. Meanwhile, prices at home crept up, from washing machines to electronics to raw materials. And still, Trump kept pushing, because for him, this wasn't just a trade policy. It was a war for American pride.
We achieved a total reset with China. The talks in Geneva were very friendly. The relationship is very good. We're not looking to hurt China. I'll speak to President Xi maybe at the end of the week.
No one wants to do a generalized decoupling, but we are going to do a strategic decoupling.
A digital Cold War emerges. Then, the battlefield shifted, from soybeans to surveillance, from steel to software. Trump zeroed in on Chinese tech giants, Huawei, TikTok, ZTE. He claimed they were Trojan horses, that China was using them to spy on American citizens, to steal data, to control narratives. He wasn't just banning companies, he was redrawing the lines of digital sovereignty. Suddenly, tech wasn't global anymore. It was divided, splintered, apps were banned, 5G infrastructure was torn down, diplomats were expelled. The US demanded allies follow suit, and the world had to pick sides. This was no longer about trade, it was about power. Who controls the future? Who controls the internet? Who controls the truth? The fragile peace, and the pandemic that changed everything. In January 2020, the world took a breath. Trump and Xi signed a Phase 1 trade deal. China agreed to purchase $200 billion in U.S. goods. Agriculture, energy, manufacturing. It was fragile, but it was something. Trump declared victory, said his strategy had worked, but then COVID-19. The virus spread from Wuhan to the world. Global supply chains snapped, airports closed, factories shut down. The trade war was put on ice, not because it was over, but because the world was falling apart. Still, tensions never disappeared. The pandemic revealed just how dependent the world had become on China for medicine, electronics, PPE. And suddenly, Trump's warnings didn't seem so crazy anymore. Legacy of a war still burning. In 2021, Trump left office, but the war he started, still very much alive. His successor, Joe Biden, didn't lift the tariffs, didn't end the restrictions, didn't fully reverse the path, because by then, the trade war wasn't a Trump issue anymore. It has become a global reality. Today, America is still untangling itself from Chinese supply chains. Companies are moving factories to Vietnam, India, Mexico. The U.S. is investing billions in domestic manufacturing, especially in semiconductors and energy. And the world is now more polarized than ever. Two economies, two ideologies, one increasingly divided planet. Trump didn't wear the mask of a diplomat. He wasn't subtle, he wasn't conventional, but he was effective.
Former President Trump recently held a private meeting with top economic advisors, trade experts, and industry leaders to lay the groundwork for a major new tariff strategy targeting China. The aim is to significantly reduce U.S. economic reliance on China, boost domestic manufacturing, and impose steep tariffs on Chinese imports.
He shattered the illusion that globalization was untouchable, that trade could be separated from politics, that America had to play nice. He exposed China's vulnerabilities. He made economic nationalism mainstream, and he forced the world to confront a question no one wanted to ask. What happens when the world's two biggest powers stop cooperating and start competing? Love him or hate him, one thing is clear. Trump didn't just fire the first shot in the trade war. He made sure the world heard the explosion, and the echo is still ringing. If this story gripped you, if you want more raw, unfiltered truth about power, politics, and the battles shaping our world, then hit that subscribe button now. Because here, we don't just report history. Stay informed, stay ahead, stay subscribed.